Hello, today the Uvalde CISD team and I will speak to our journey in transforming a district culture for blended learning, the value of shared leadership. Joining me in this presentation today will be Michael Rodriguez, our Deputy Superintendent for Curriculum Instruction, Ms. Annabelle White, our School Board President, Dr. Sandra Garza, our Executive Director for Teaching and Learning, and Natalie Audius, who is our Blended Learning Specialist. Today, let me introduce myself. I'm Dr. Hal Harrell, Superintendent of Schools here in Uvalde. We in Uvalde, we're located 82 miles west of San Antonio and about 80 miles east of Del Rio. We have 8 campuses, 3 secondary. We have Uvalde High School, Morales Junior High, Crossroads Alternative School, and we have 5 elementary campuses. We have Dalton, Batesville Elementary, Robb, Anthony, and Flores. To give you a little more perspective on Uvalde and Uvalde, Texas, and where we're located, I mentioned that a little bit earlier, but Uvalde is an agricultural community. Also, along with that, we do have some mineral resources that are mined around this area, but also it's a strong area of recreation, hunting, fishing. The Frio River's just north of here, so a lot of water recreation, fishing, floating the Frio, all those things Uvalde is kind of known for and where it's positioned. We have about 4,100 students in our school. We have 350 teachers. We're the Coyote and Lobo Nation, and every school district has its challenges. We are in a rural community, and we do have difficulty attracting teachers, but however, what we've done, not just the recruitment, we've built that up, but also retaining our teachers. It's very important for us to give our teachers the tools and the resources that they need to become very successful, and also that they feel that they've been valued and they are comfortable here teaching our students. So we have a very strong professional development program, one that it carries on throughout the school year. It's definitely strong at in the summer and professional development days, but our staff has built and created a very strong professional development program for our teachers, and it's based on what the teacher's need is. It's not me telling you what you need, it's you identifying the needs that you want to get better in to better address instruction in the classroom and better serve our kids. So it's almost a library of professional development that our teachers can draw from and get better and be more satisfied in their work area. One thing that we have to address here in Uvalde, 82% of our students are from economically disadvantaged families. And as we moved through the COVID process and identifying needs of our kids, connectivity became a huge piece that we knew we had to address. We had to acquire hotspots and get those out to our kids and our families. We had to acquire iPads. We are now a one-to-one district. Every child in our district, every student in our district has an iPad. And when we leave on a Friday afternoon, we make sure our kids take those iPads because we don't know what the weekend holds or the next week holds, but we are going to be in touch with our kids. As we talked earlier on blended learning, you'll learn more about what blended learning is and what it brings to our district and the value it is and brings to our kids. As superintendent of schools, I felt it was very important for me to be involved in the blended learning initiative, the professional development, and supporting wholeheartedly this initiative that Natalie Audius, who you'll be introduced to in a little bit, and Dr. Sandra Garza wrote the grant, acquired the grant, and they have gone out and they have created a process, a systemic process to educate our kids, educate our staff, and I felt it was very important as superintendent to be involved with this process. It fits with our vision here in Uvalde, with our mission, to have our student learners become active learners in their educational process, and also equip our teachers in that process to assist our students with the knowledge and skills that they need to be independent learners, so that as they move forward in their educational process and beyond, that they will become lifelong learners. So now I would like to share with you a short video on what blended learning is.
What is blended learning? In its simplest form, blended learning is a combination of online instruction and traditional face-to-face teaching methods. It affirms the fact that both of these methods are effective in their own ways, but challenges educational systems to combine the two to create a more ideal, personalized learning experience for all students. Blended learning can look a lot of different ways, but these are just some of the things that you can expect to see in a blended learning classroom. Although many of these things can be found in a traditional classroom, what you don't see is that each student is on a personalized path based on their individual needs, thanks to the use of online systems. In an ideal classroom, this method will free up teachers to be able to work more consistently, meaningfully, and effectively with small groups.
Here's my little assessment, and here's like what I got wrong and what I got right. And what I need to work on is main idea and summary. And right here, I made some question stems. So to work on it, I made one for summary and one for main idea.
Blended learning is an instructional model which combines face-to-face instruction with online learning to help teachers differentiate instruction for all students. The Blended Learning Grant Program awards grants to school districts and charter schools for the planning and implementation of a high-quality blended learning model. UCISD is the proud recipient of the TEA Blended Learning Grant. We have teamed up with Engage to Learn to design a transformational learning experience specifically for the students of Uvalde.
Hello, my name is Annabelle White, and I am the board president of the Uvalde Consolidated Independent School District's Board of Trustees. And I am here to speak to you why the board chose to back the Blended Learning Initiative. I have one word for you, and that is success. Here at UCISD, one of our goals is to see all of our students succeed in the classroom and in the workplace. And one of those ways is to give them all the tools that they need. Now, education has changed drastically from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and most certainly from when I was in the classroom and perhaps when you were in the classroom. One word encompasses that change, and that is technology. Blended learning is our pathway to achieving these goals. Having technology in the classroom, we found, was not enough. With blended learning, students pick up certain skills such as collaborative learning, personalized instruction, self-pacing. They themselves go in to find things that interest them. And one of the most important things I find is thoughtfulness in content consumption. Student voice is a very important thing for our board, and blended learning lends itself to this. It gives the students agency, and therefore, in itself, gives the students a voice in their own instruction. And so that is why we decided that blended learning was, in fact, the perfect fit for Uvalde Consolidated Independent School District. Today's students are digital natives. They've grown up with technology at their fingertips, and it is embedded in every facet of their lives. Blended learning supports the use of technology that they are already accustomed with and are familiar with.
Community engagement was a huge part of the strategic design process. Focus groups were held for groups of internal and external stakeholders. Community surveys were distributed, and a formal committee was established to ensure our goals were aligned with the district vision and mission. The next few clips you will see will showcase our journey through strategic design and what some of our stakeholders had to share as we launched this initiative.
Have been attending and community members yesterday, will go on today, and conclude tomorrow. Okay. But it's setting up classrooms for the future with a blended learning model. Okay. And what that quickly entails is, of course, through traditional instruction, but also bringing in technology, small groups, and independent learning as well, to make that classroom much more rich and dynamic for our kids. Okay. Our kids live in a completely different world than we grew up in, and we need to make our classrooms resemble that.
I think we're all so excited about blended learning. So if we kind of want to go around and share what you're most excited about, what you're looking forward to next year.
Blended learning provides a great opportunity for all of our students to receive individualized learning. Through making connections in this digital age, blended learning provides those students the tools and skills to make sure that they meet the CCMR component through the differentiated pathways that are provided to them. It is through blended learning that our students will succeed and become better, more productive members of society.
Relationship with teachers, peers, parents. Again, involving all the stakeholders. As you can see, we're all involved in the process. It goes back to this one. And then the third one is valuing people's ideas and opinions. Again, you know, we have a variety of people here and we'll all have our own opinions, but we're still, it goes back to this one, we're still involved in the process as a whole.
I really enjoyed blended learning because it was really eye-opening, and it was really, it gave me more ideas on how to work on things in school. It was also a very, very fun experience I had. There was lots of interaction with parents and teachers and other students, you know. I met new friends. I got to learn a lot of things.
As a dyslexia therapist, I'm excited about the Blended Learning Initiative and the possibilities to come for our students. I'm especially excited to see how it will support our special populations.
When actively engaged in real-world learning experiences, and we combine two of the beliefs. One of them from Dr. Harrell's, where he says that every student learns when actively engaged in real-world experiences or situations, and there is another chart that says learning happens when students are actively engaged, so we combine those two to make our third belief system.
Excited about the blended learning. My son is a third grader and he struggles in math, so I feel like this is really going to be something that he can benefit from. He can work at his own pace. He won't have to worry about keeping up with the other kids that are faster than him, and just knowing what's expected of him. So this will be something that he can take with him. He can take it home. He can work on it at his pace. He can work on it in class or ever how he needs to do it.
Blended learning is a positive for students because it's going to create new ways, innovative ways to stimulate the learning process for students and make it relevant to them. That's what I'm most excited about.
Because some of those activities
you can do it on a whim. You've got to know what you're doing before you get into that classroom to do it. And just the excitement of the kids when they were collaborating in the groups together.
Hi, we're so excited about the Blended Learning Program. We have already implemented so many new strategies into our personal classrooms. We have even shared the information that was given to us at the trainings with our colleagues.
For example, the amazing integration of technology within the math classrooms, the different stations, and most importantly, the empowerment of the students taking ownership of their own learning. Thank you.
Well, as a parent of 4 in the district and also the instructional coach in Uvalde, I'm excited that kids are going to be able to learn through online platforms and have more technology integration in the classroom, as well as the original traditional methods.
What I learned from blended learning is that teachers put a lot of effort into the students' learning environment, and that the teachers, they try really hard to make the students learn more and think about college and school itself, and they're preparing us for the future just by doing the simplest stuff but putting a lot of effort into what they do.
Hello, my name is Michael A. Rodriguez. I'm the Deputy Superintendent of Uvalde CISD. I oversee curriculum and instruction and all that fun stuff that goes along in the classroom. Really excited about blended learning. Blended learning is a key for the next vision of what we have going on in Uvalde, and I think the major component that I'm most excited about is our parent piece. The parents are really going to have a chance to really understand the levels their kids are at, the goals that we're setting for them in the classroom, and I know it's going to benefit our kids, it's going to benefit our teachers, and really going to be exciting stuff for our parents.
I'm very excited about blending learning. In kindergarten, the children are going to have an opportunity to have folders and keep track of their own learning. They love goals and being able to check things off, so I think this is going to be amazing for them.
So I had the honor of participating and being a part of the Blended Learning Committee. And being a part of that committee as a district librarian and as a parent, I had two perspectives to offer in our sessions. And so I think me being an advocate for a 21st century library and a 21st century classroom, I got excited learning and collaborating with the others because it's combining the different components to empower a student to take ownership of their learning and take charge.
Dealing with a lot of our intervention programs, we have digital aspects of those, and so I'm really excited about the possibility of the collaboration between blended learning and our intervention.
So, Ms. Arias, the reason that we have you here today is because there's been a little buzz going about blended learning. So what is your official title here in the district?
So my official title is Blended Learning Specialist, and with this position I am in charge of managing a grant that we received for the district, and also helping roll out the Blended Learning Initiative as a whole in the district. So the grant takes, it's focused on math for K through 8th grade, but we're also looking at ways that we can roll out blended learning in other grade levels, like here at the high school and some of the campuses that we'll have to wait a little bit for the grant to get to them.
Yes.
So the district is really committed to this initiative and what the possibilities are for our students.
As an early childhood principal, I'm super excited about teaching my little friends how to take responsibility for their learning and how that they can track it and follow it and they can see their progress. And I'm excited about the technology piece that helps support our teachers.
As an instructor at the local community college, I was really pleased to hear that a model of blended learning is going to be implemented on the elementary campuses. I've been using a model of blended learning in my classroom for over 5 years, and I think that it really allows the students to have both the autonomy and independence that they need while still maintaining a connection with the classroom where they'll get their primary focus of their material.
So I'm very excited to lead these teachers in year 1 of blended learning, and as well as my teachers are so excited that they're pretty much year 1 and year 2 teachers, in the profession. So I'm excited to see what they're able to do.
Hey guys, so we're here today to talk to you and share a little bit about our experience with the blended learning framework that UCISD will be implementing with our kids next year. What we did was we got together and our community, students, teachers, parents, and we all had the same vision, the same goal. We all worked towards leading our learners to be responsible for their learning, bringing in some technology and really building on all their skills. What we're doing is we are setting individualized paths for each student to take, and that way they are better able to work on their weaknesses as well as their strengths.
And we already do a lot of this stuff in our classrooms already. There's just some things that we need to tweak to make it more personalized for the students so that they are able to accomplish what they set.
So we've got a lot of great things coming, and we were really happy that our community was able to help with the framework and everyone is on board.
I thank you once more for inviting me to the theme for blended learning. I really very much love what they're going to bring to the school, and what blended learning is basically like incorporating our own views and incorporating our ways of working and collaborating with each other for blended learning. I know that it'll bring great choices and big things for kids later on, and I hope that it gets better and better.
From the district level, I'm excited that the campus instructional coaches, along with the district specialists, whole C&I team have done a whole lot of groundwork in putting into place differentiation, made a lot of technology investments, and I think this is just the perfect layer to add to that, giving teachers like a platform to help foster that student agency, give every student a personalized path.
Diversity of all stakeholders, so we're talking about all students, staff, community, families, and we think that's really important that we recognize and are empowered by their differences, because everybody brings something to the table.
I came to know about the blended learning through an information that the school sent out, and after doing some research I volunteered to be a part of the, one of the main things that I like about it is that we've already invested a significant amount in technology, and it's utilized in different grades and different classrooms to different extents. This gives us a clear outline, a clear path when it can be utilized and how it can be utilized more appropriately to maximize our return on investment for that technology. So overall, I think it's a great opportunity for our district and all the districts in Texas to utilize technology to empower our students to have ownership over their educational outcomes.
And as a curriculum specialist, I'm so excited that the teacher is moving from being the keeper of all knowledge to becoming a facilitator, and the students owning their own learning.
Very excited about the blended learning grant that we received, and I'm really excited about, as superintendent, that it follows our initiatives, it follows what we're doing in our district in providing for our students. We've made a large investment in technology, in infrastructure, and hardware to get access to our kids and down into the classroom where it needs to be for our kids. As superintendent, I thought it was very important for me to be part of the process as we went through this, the blended learning strategic planning. It was great to see the excitement and the energy that was there from not only our teachers and staff, but our students and our community and as well. This fits right in with some of my personal visions for our kids as a superintendent, and that's the student agency piece, the individualized learning, that our kids will be owners of their own learning and their own design of what best fits them and their interest, that also aligns very closely with the TEKS. And that's something that I think is going to be new as we move forward, be fresh, and very exciting for Uvalde CISD and possibly the rest of the state. So thanks for having me.
You know, the planning process for this that took us to this blended learning grant started about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. We were already a secondary one-to-one campus, but it wasn't, our implementation with the iPads wasn't at the capacity or the level we needed it to be at. There was a lot of gaps missing in PD. There were a lot of gaps missing with the equipment. So when we decided to move ahead and move forward with the secondary staying a one-to-one, we felt that the necessary tool that we needed was to invest in some instructional tech coaches, technology coaches on the campus. So with that, we defined a new role on our campus. We offered a stipend, and it was a competitive process. We offered training. You know, we went ahead and invested in the hardware and the equipment for their classroom, and they became really the models, teachers of teachers, if you will, for their campuses. And the expectation is that they would train additional teachers and their colleagues on the campus. From there, we started moving into the next couple months, and then the opportunity came up with the blended learning grant for the math portion. And so we looked at that, and we felt that the direction that we were going as a district, that was going to be really a good way for us to jump on that grant and move and keep moving in the direction we wanted to go through with technology and really building student advocacy and student independence, where they understand their levels and their weak TEKS and their strong TEKS, and we really wanted to get to the point where teachers really knew the individual levels of the kids and could really put together a playlist, if you will, where kids could really understand, and on their own time they can be sent to their iPad, and they sit there and they work on their TEKS that are weak in and the stronger TEKS and move them forward. So that's where we really led to, and then we understood that in order to do this, we really needed to create SMART goals. So as a committee and as a district, we went ahead and created 3 SMART goals. You know, one of them was improving the math STAR scores. You know, that was one of our priorities. We've been struggling in the district. The second one was really building on our math STAR screener. It's not the typical STAR, it's the STAR by Star Renaissance that we use. We have that vertically aligned throughout from kinder all the way through 12th grade, and we wanted to really see an improvement in those scores. And really the last one, which is probably the key to the whole program is student agency. We really wanted kids to buy into understanding that, you know, you have to understand where you're at, where your weak areas are, where your weak standards and TEKs are, and we really wanted to give them the tools to push them forward on that. The most important piece that I'd like to acknowledge is the school board piece, you know, and I know that's what the majority of our audience is today, is that our school board has allowed us to and trusted us to make the decisions that we need to move forward. And one of the most important pieces when you look at moving the district forward or following through on a major initiative as this is that you have to have the support, and support comes in different ways. We want, first it comes in the support, do all our kids have all the materials and curriculum and things that they need to be successful? Are we setting them up for success? The second item is PD and professional development for our teachers. And again, are we setting our teachers up for success? Are we removing those barriers where they can become the best teachers that they want to become? And the third is really, as a district, do we have all the materials and hardware and foundations that, you know, software systems, you know, RTI intervention programs, are all those aligned and ready to go from the district's perspective? And that's our job as a district. So one of the things we did is really invest in a student, you know, standards-based curriculum, technology curriculum through IXL. And IXL has been a real good partner for us in that area, where kids can really track their levels and really the lessons can be tailored to them individually. Again, that student agency. Again, you know, the other items that we've really bought into is Nearpod and Edpuzzle, which are interactive, engaging activities that kids can use off their iPads, off the one-to-one devices that they have. Teachers are able to tailor it towards the kids, and they're able to get on structurally in an environment where they can really be successful. You know, the other items that we've really spent a lot of time on is our daily PLCs. One of the things that we invested in a couple of years ago is that all our elementary teachers and our middle school STAR testers, teachers, and in high school our EOC teachers have not only a conference, but they have a daily PLC. So we felt that early on that the investment in the planning piece was going to be key to the driving and turning around of the district and the success of our district. So when we talked about this grant required us to do data-driven instruction, DDI, at least once a week with our grade levels that were part of the grant. And so Texas Tech acknowledged us, and TA acknowledged us for already having that built into our daily schedule, our master schedule. So when we pushed the DDI, it wasn't a surprise. It wasn't anything outlandish that our teachers had to figure out. It was already set up for them for success. And so what we did is our coordinator, our specialist, really jumped in one day a week and really was able to look at that IXL data and really get down and help the teachers understand where we needed to work on, what our strengths were, where our weaknesses were. So really that's been the key, is our daily PLCs. We felt that the investment in that extra PLC that we control, that we have instructional coaches, and that we're our district content specialists, myself included, we jump in, we show up, and we see if we're following the assessment protocol and the DDI standards that we've set in place. So that's really made a huge difference. You know, we talk about giving the tools to our teachers, of making them the best teacher they can, and that goes back to PD. You know, we do a lot of PD, extensive PD here. We really truly believe in targeted PD. We've gone from the days of just simple Super Saturdays trainings to where we actually have, last year we offered over 200 different courses, hour-long courses to our teachers. Our teachers are able to go into Eduphoria, and they're able to really tailor their PD for the rest of the year. All our teachers have to complete 12 hours of flex PD, so they can get those flex hours returned for that Monday and Tuesday of Thanksgiving break. And they're able to go into the Eduphoria system, or the administrator for their campus can work with them, and they can pick between, you know, beginner, intermediate, and advanced. So we may have a topic on understanding the TEKs alignment, and if they don't feel very confident, they can choose the beginning course. Or if they feel very confident and want to push it a little bit further, they choose the the advanced course. And so we've invested a lot of time in that area as well. We've also invested and given the respect to our teachers. We have a lot of teacher leaders and teachers that want to have great ideas and feel very strong, and maybe in special ed co-teach, or maybe they feel very strong in ESL strategies. Well, we offer them the opportunity to offer these courses to the district, to other district campuses and district teachers, and we actually pay them for that as well. So teachers are able to present and gain that and put that under their belt and get that under their resume. And when you understand something well and you're able to present it, that's a deeper level of understanding for our teachers. So we do a lot of that. We've done a lot of course offerings through. I think we were probably one of the few districts in the state that offered a summer cruise. Summer cruise was kind of like a regular conference that you would attend through Austin, but it was all online, and teachers were able to pick and choose their topic and go through our courses through the day, and we had our teachers and our staff members presenting, so that was really good. And then we offer a lot of hour sessions after school where teachers, we know they're tired after school, but we offer those sessions, and that encompasses removing those barriers, setting our students and teachers up for success. One of the important things that we did is that we knew going into this, 2 years ago, that if we were going to continue on this path with technology coaches, secondary one-to-one, iPads, blended learning grant, that we knew that we really had to set up our classrooms for success. And so we were looking at the time of buying 10 iPads per classroom and really investing in through Apple education and really using that as one of our tools to deliver the student agency that we wanted to ultimately get to. The ultimate goal is student agency. So when COVID hit, we were able to use the COVID funding and the funding that was provided to the districts, and we went ahead and just invested in one-to-one across the district. So that's what we did. We got the latest version of the iPads across the district. All our teachers and our special ed teachers as well received an iPad, and the training went through, and we were following up on that Apple training as well on that. So we were able to afford that and invest in that the hardware there. The other key item that we knew we needed, just like many districts, is hotspots. So what we did is we purchased a certain amount over the summer. We tested those out through with our special ed students over the summer programs, and we really wanted to gather a lot of data and really make some quantitative decisions based off the quantitative data on what the kids were using it for, what times of days were they using it, and so with that we were able to invest for additional hotspots. We purchased those and we handed those out to the individual campuses, and we gave them kind of a rubric of which families will qualify for them, because the campuses know the families better than we do. They know which kids need the hotspots. So that's how we handled that. We knew that if we were going to continue in this direction, that we really needed to invest in the iPads and the hotspots. So that's worked out really well for us. So and the other part of that, the other major part of that, is the Google software update. We normally were using just Google EDU. What we felt is that when we went virtual in spring last year, we noticed that our teachers were missing it, and there were some components that we couldn't get onto, or there were some ways of extracting and sending out homework and assignments that we weren't able to do. So we went ahead and invested into Google EDU Enterprise, so we upgraded and we got those tools in. Our teachers really were up for the challenge. We had some professional PD for these. We offered it on their time. They were able to go in and view these sessions and troubleshoot. We created these makeshift classrooms, and they were able to go in there and play with them. And then during the summer, TEA came back with the offering of some other platforms that were really going to lend itself to the type of learning and delivery that we were looking at moving forward to. And so we decided, after looking at I think it was 2 or 3 choices that the district TEA offered, we decided to move forward with Schoology. So we took our time with it. We didn't jump on it right away in August. We created a plan where we were going to roll it out Our initial date was the end of October that we wanted all teachers to be on Schoology 100%. After looking at the data, looking at the number of teachers that have participated in individual training, we gave them some hypothetical classrooms where they were able to go in there and manipulate and play around with the system. We decided that that wouldn't work. We went ahead and pushed the date to the end of January, the beginning of the second semester. So when we came back, we went live across the district on Schoology. It was an expectation. We set our bar up for our teachers. We knew they would reach it, but we also provided the resources they needed. We were troubleshooting. We had individual sessions. We had campus sessions, and so that rollout has gone out really well. Our teachers, is nothing. The truth about it is that they struggled in the beginning, because they had just really gotten a good grasp of the Google Enterprise platform that we're using, and then we were asking them to shift to the Schoology, but we knew that they would step up, and the parents understood the reason why. We did a lot of parent sessions on that, and what we see now is that teachers are really taking it and pushing it forward. So the other item that we felt very strongly is that if on one side our goal is to build student agency, we really needed to model that as teachers and as administrators. So we challenge our students every day in the classroom, virtually and in person. And so we started to challenge our teachers and our staff members and even our senior staff. And so what we created is started really working on this badge list. And badge lists can be created for any really initiative that a campus may have or the district. So what it is you go into, and there's if we're doing a badge initiative on Schoology, you can create so many badges, and there's badges on there, and you say, okay, if you become an expert on being able to upload your lessons, well, you'll receive this badge. And if you become an expert on sharing your videos and sending your assignments out to students, then you receive this badge. And it may sound funny or a little bit elementary, but it works. Everybody likes recognition. If I could get senior staff to get their badges, then anybody out there could receive their badges and really be motivated. So that's one tool that we use. We always highlight our staff members that are receiving badges. They're becoming experts. And a lot of times what we've seen is that we didn't realize one person was an expert and received all these badges. Not until we see all these badges being awarded that we really realize, hey, we can tap into this teacher, and we didn't even know this teacher was a teacher leader in this area. So that's one way we're doing it, and so far what we've seen is a real good buy-in. Not saying there weren't any bumps and bruises. There were some bumps in the road, but once everybody, and I'm talking about all stakeholders, the school board, parents, community members, teachers, administrators, and senior staff, once we understood that the ultimate goal is student agency, then it was very easy to put the pieces together and help everybody get on the same road and to set forth for the same vision. One of the keys of senior staff is the responsibility of us as a group to make decisions moving forward is being responsible of our taxpayers' dollars, good stewards. So we always maximize, and we look at personnel and say, okay, where can we maximize our efforts? And or do we have personnel in a position that can do more, or do we need to take something off their plate? So for example, instructional coaches have been an investment here in Uvalde for the last couple of years, quite a few years. And we saw that not only had they been at a certain level, most of them have been with us for a couple of years in the same role. And so we've built upon the understanding the TEKS and the readiness and supporting standard. We've built on the understanding data. We've built on with the expectation of what a POC looks like and what should be going on in the POC, who runs the POCs, and building capacity with our teacher leaders. And so when this opportunity again came up, we knew that not only these instructional coaches could help us, but they could really help deliver what is the instruction and the delivery of that lesson, of that TEK look like using these platforms. And again, we were fortunate enough that we had technology coaches. So with the technology coach, we have them come in in those PLCs and after school and give examples and model how do you use these different tools that we've invested in through the district. But it all comes together with the blended learning specialists that we were able to hire through the grant. So our goal is the blended learning specialist goes in, they run the DDI sessions, but they're modeling for the instructional coach. And at some point, and we have different instructional coaches at different levels. Right now, for example, she's able to pop in virtually and look at a DDI session and be there just to help facilitate and answer questions. Whereas another one, she has to kind of lead it a little bit more because the instructional coach is still getting her feet wet with it. But our eventual goal is that our teachers have three resources to go to really understand how do I use Nearpod or how does IXL fit in with this lesson. And that's what our ultimate goal is to provide those resources, to provide a professional on campus, because you know as well as we do is that we have a lot of great teachers and great teaching going on and a lot of strengths in those classrooms that we can tap into.
The Blended Learning Grant Program was established by House Bill 3. It provided funding for the planning and execution of a high-quality model. One of the first things we asked ourselves was, is blended learning something that aligns with our vision and the needs of our learners? We had made some investments district-wide. What we needed next was a way to operationalize our efforts and maximize those investments to truly impact teaching and learning. The challenge we faced is one that most districts face. Classrooms are filled with students learning at different levels. Even when teachers can diagnose what each student needs, it's difficult to prepare individual lessons for each student. Checking each student's progress and providing them timely feedback is difficult at best. In those traditional classrooms, teachers are forced to teach to the middle, but that leaves struggling students behind and advanced students feeling unchallenged and uninspired. We were excited to learn about the power of blended learning. It provides each student with an online platform combined with face-to-face teacher instruction and, most importantly, tracking tools so that each student can self-monitor, set goals, and develop that true student agency. Teachers can use real-time diagnostic information to address learning gaps and make those adjustments in real time. We learned that when executed correctly, blended learning can help meet the needs of all students in a way that's sustainable, and students can take ownership of their learning. So we signed, sealed, and delivered our application to the Texas Education Agency, and our journey began. In the fall of 2019, we joined a cohort of districts across Texas when our first grant for math planning was accepted. This grant allowed us to bring on a blended learning specialist and begin the planning phase of this transformational process. What we didn't know at the time was that a history-making pandemic was about to impact all of us. Even so, we stayed focused on our tasks because our students were our big why. For our efforts, we received the go-ahead from the Texas Education Agency in the form of the implementation grant. This allowed us to put into motion everything that we had planned for math instruction. When we learned that another grant opportunity was available, we made the decision to pursue it for English language arts instruction. We were awarded that one in October of 2020, so we are now in the process of planning the blended learning implementation for reading. The grant is set up to provide districts the opportunity to design, launch, scale, and sustain a learning model. So after 4 years, blended learning will be scaled up to impact all grades from kindergarten to 8th grade. The first year is designed to support planning activities. The TEA has set forth rigorous standards that are grounded in best practice to sustain this type of transformation. One of the big outcomes of the planning year is the strategic design or plan. Once this plan gains approval, Districts can then move on to implementation. For Uvalde CISD, we planned for the first year to target kinder, third, and sixth grade classrooms in math. Every year, we plan to add a grade level so that all grades in our K through 8 feeder pattern are served by the end of the 4-year period. Every year, we target certain goals. We meet weekly to ensure that student software targets are met. We provide weekly time for teachers for data-driven planning. We provide monthly learning opportunities for teachers on blended learning, on data-driven instruction, and on curriculum. We administer proficiency-based interim assessments 3 times a year, and we engage in annual reflection and revision. The first year of planning looked something like this. In January of 2020, our blended learning specialist was hired, and we launched our partnership with Engage to Learn. That same month, in January, we engaged in focus groups of district and community stakeholders. These groups were made up of students, teachers, administrators, school board, and community members. Through this and through surveying, we were able to elicit valuable feedback from them about their views on learning in general and especially 21st century learning. In February, we gathered stakeholders again, but this time we rolled up our sleeves to create a plan. From this 3-day event, our new district learning framework called the Paw Print was developed. The following month, COVID hit, and our district, like many others, went into virtual learning. We rushed to create instructional resources that could be accessed from home. Our home learning site was created as a hub for both teaching and learning resources. Our fast-thinking blended learning specialist created virtual lesson plan templates using the Paw Print model so that our teachers and students had their first interaction with the newly developed framework. In April, we gathered teacher leaders that would help us train others during the back-to-school launch. Because of COVID restrictions, this was done online, and through the process, we became familiar with online PD. By June, our back-to-school training was planned out, and it was time to gather campus leaders. During the Leadership Academy, again held online, principals planned the blended learning launch. They agreed on the messaging and various ways they could kick off this exciting initiative to teachers. In July, we held another online gathering with our Coaches Academy. Again, this was specialized training, providing our coaches, our instructional coaches, the necessary tools to support the blended learning initiative. By this time, we had become pretty familiar with online training that we hosted what we called our summer cruise. This was our first attempt at conducting a full-day virtual conference for our teachers. It was a hit, and our teachers engaged in powerful learning tools to support face-to-face, virtual, and blended learning. As the 2020-2021 academic year was launched, our groups of trained stakeholders led district training on the district paw print and other strategies to support blended learning. And throughout the year, the process has been continually supported through ongoing job-embedded coaching and support provided by our Engage to Learn partners and through the development of our own blended learning leaders.
My charge in launching this initiative, more than anything, has been building a shared vision for blended learning and aligning instruction at all levels. Through strategic design, internal and external stakeholders designed our call to action that is founded on the premise that students deserve a quality education that empowers them to reach their full potential. A huge part of that is building student agency and creating an environment founded on goals, support, and strong interpersonal relationships. Our partnership with Engage to Learn has been a critical part of this launch of this program. Without their guidance, support, and systems design, I don't know that we would have known where to start. We would have struggled with how to build upon our success. Teacher leaders and principals have participated in coaching cycles with a dedicated E2L coach, and this has helped us truly leverage their strengths. We're seeing tremendous growth in not only those individuals, but the people that they work with every day as well, people on their teams and their administrators too. Additionally, our Blended Learning Ambassadors program has helped us identify those change makers at UCISD by offering an opportunity to all teachers to learn about best practices in blended learning in their own time. These teachers applied for the program and had the opportunity to provide evidence and references to back up their commitment to this program. This has really helped us leverage the strengths of our teacher leaders in the district-wide, not just within the requirements of the grant. 30 teachers across our district meet monthly to learn about blended learning best practices and collaborate to develop new ideas about how to apply them in their classrooms. The true foundation of blended learning is data-driven instruction. So this has been at the top of our list of priorities in creating a shared understanding for blended learning. Weekly DDI PLCs with blended learning teachers, as you heard from Ms. Rodriguez earlier, have also been a huge undertaking and the most critical component to this process. These meetings dedicated to analyzing the data we pull from our digital curriculum, assessments, and conversations is helping teachers make the connections between this initiative and the bigger picture. They're starting to realize how this initiative connects overall student achievement and outcomes to ultimate student success in life. So by focusing on using data to personalize instruction, we're seeing huge strides in student achievement and in teacher efficacy. Achieving success with blended learning is not a fast process. So stakeholders have to be committed to the baby steps along the way. Our team is dynamic and deep, and we have many effective systems in place to manage all the working parts. But even then, this is a process and it takes time. This is the hardest part of this journey, and it's the hardest part to help our teachers and administrators understand. It's our hope that with fidelity of implementation, we will continue to close the gaps and meet our SMART goals for this program. It's not going to be easy, but knowing that we have the tools that we need to achieve true blended learning is a game changer. And we're excited to see how it positively impacts the students of Uvalde CISD.
As superintendent, I want to thank you for joining us and allowing us to share with you what we have done and what we've transformed. So in closing, I want to thank you for your interest in our district's journey to transforming our district culture for blended learning with a focus on the value of shared leadership. If you have any questions, please contact Natalie Audius, our district's blended learning specialist. Thank you.